The movie begins with a narration that tells us about the city of Gotham. Looking at it from above, it looks like heaven, but don't judge a book by its cover. Inside the city is a lot more. The crime rate in this city is so high, and even police officers are part of it. Just recently, the conspiracy charges against the commissioner of police was withdrawn after the suddenly disappearance of the key witness. A detective called Jim Gordon, who travels by train, is moving into the Gotham City to start a new life with his pregnant wife Barbara. Just as he sets his foot inside the city, he knew this was no place to raise his kid, and he asks himself how his wife is going fit in all of these. Just as he comes out from a train, a poor man begs him to buy one of his books at a very low amount, but a detective comes out from nowhere and flings the man away. The detective name is called Flas, who tells Gordon that his superior commissioner, Loeb, had ordered him to escort Gordon so as not to miss his appointment. Gordon learns from Detective Flas that being a police officer in Gotham has a lot of privileges, such as swindling crimes under your shoes. But Gordon is determined to purge corruption from Gotham. Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne returns back home to Gotham after 12 years abroad. He had come for a solo-manned mission of purging the city. After going through Gordon's record, Commissioner Loeb accepted Gordon as a police detective, as he believes Gordon will help him on his ongoing case. After he meets with Commissioner Loeb, Detective Flas shows Gordon around the city, and there is something that happened that leaves Gordon with many questions on his mind. Flas stopped his car after seeing a black kid on the road. He beat up the poor, innocent kid without asking questions. Gordon forces himself not to interfere. He wants to study Flas before making rash decisions. After Flas deals with the kid, he claims he found a weapon on the kid's pocket, but Gordon checks it just to see it's a comb and not a weapon. From that moment on, Gordon realizes his partner is not just a corrupt cop, but he is also a racist. The scene interchanges with Bruce Wayne mourning the death of his parents. He isn't looking for closure because the pain is still very much fresh to him. He wants to avenge their deaths. On the other hand, Gordon notices that things are being run differently in Gotham and in a bad way. Flas wants to know if he can count on Gordon to fit into the system, cause the boys do not actually trust him. He shows Gordon how they treat criminals by showing the no mercy. After weeks of his return to Gotham, Bruce began training for his mission. He has the skills and means to carry out this task. But he believes something is still missing, so he decides to wait a little. After a few days of inhabiting with the Gotham police force, Flas goes over to his corrupt superior, Commissioner Lowe, to complain about how Gordon doesn't fit into the system and how he is trying to preach his ethics to them. Later that evening, some mask officers, led by Detective Flas, then corner Gordon while he is trying to go see his pregnant wife. They pound on him with their police bats and didn't stop, but after seeing his blood painted on their bats, they decide to let him go with a warning. Meanwhile, Bruce began to plot his revenge mission. His enemies still remained top priority, but he had to disguise himself to give out a perfect revenge story. He goes in disguise on a surveillance mission in Gotham's red light district. While walking down the streets of Gotham, he comes across an underage sex worker. He notices her client harassing her and tries to save her from him. The man warns Bruce to stay out of his business, but Bruce isn't willing to let go and is ready to go into a brawl with him. The man brings out a pocket knife, trying to tear up Bruce, but he fights back, swinging him a powerful kick that throws him down to the ground. The remaining sex workers gang up to fight Bruce for spoiling her business, but he manages to hold them off till the lawless police arrive at the scene. Without even trying to arrest him legally, they shoot Bruce and toss him into the back of their patrol car. When Bruce regains consciousness, he beats up the policeman, which results in a fatal accident. But even when they are filth, Bruce still has a little sympathy and rescues them from the blazing fire, before making it out barely alive. Meanwhile, Gordon decides to plot his revenge plan on Flas. He finds out that Flas is off duty and has gone to play poker with his friends, so he tails him. Gordon tracks Flas down, runs him down with his car. To make it a fair fight, Gordon gives Flas his bat while he fights with his bare hands. He beats up Flas like a little child, leaving him naked and handcuffed in the snow. He knows Flas will be too embarrassed to report this to the police. Instead, Flas will make up exaggerated stories to save his dignity. Bruce was back to his mansion. He sits before his father's bust, talking to him about how he couldn't waste any more time on his mission, requesting guidance in his war against crime, and how he wants the people to fear and listen to him. Bruce recalls how his parents were unjustly murdered. Just then, a bat suddenly crashes through a window and settles on the bust, inspiring him to save Gotham as Batman. Gordon receives a report of a hostage situation, so he quickly rushes to the crime scene. He decides to go smartly and calmly takes control of the situation and rescues the little children who were kidnapped at gunpoint. Commissioner Lee uploads on how to take care of Gordon because he is becoming a huge problem to them. But he needs to be patient because Gordon has the press on his side and the people of Gotham see him as a hero. On the other hand, Gordon is expecting a baby, but he isn't particularly happy with the idea of bringing a baby to a lawless city. Crimes begin to significantly decline after Weeks took up the role of Batman. He went after street crimes and acted as a vigilant. A report was brought in to Gordon concerning the Batman. So the entire police force began investigating the issue, and they brought in Detective Essen to help out with the issue on ground. Batman had committed a total of 70 assaults and is wanted by the police. Detective Flass then narrates his encounter with the Batman. The Batman had gone after Flass, who was in the middle of accepting a bride from Jefferson Skeevers, a drug dealer of Carmen Falcone. Flass changes the story in favor of him and then tells his fellow police officers that Batman isn't human. Batman enters a dinner party held at the mansion of Gotham's mayor. They talk about the two sides of Batman and how he had negatively impacted their wealth, also shedding little light on his positive aspects. Just then, Batman busts open their door with a bang attack and announces to everyone in the party that just as they have eaten Gotham's wealth and spirit, they shall be brought to justice for their crimes someday. Infuriated by Batman's threats, Loeb orders Gordon to arrest him, or else his job will be taken from him. In an attempt to draw out the Batman, Gordon and Detective Essen plan a fake robbery, but Batman doesn't fall to their tricks. Instead, he goes after the rich and corrupt, and then destroys their most prized possession. Gordon goes over to meet Harvey Dent, suspecting he's the Batman because of the motivation he has against corrupt people. He asked him some questions in regards to his whereabouts. Just as Gordon is analyzing the whole Batman situation, he figures out that whoever is Batman has to be really rich because of the arsenal he possesses, and Harvey doesn't fit the description. Essen then tells Gordon about Bruce Wayne being the richest man in Gotham and how his parents were killed when he was still little. Just as they crack the whole case, the two cops come across a runaway truck with the driver unconscious. Gordon tries to stop the truck as it nearly hits an old lady. Batman is fast enough and manages to save her. While Gordon stops the truck, Essen holds Batman at gunpoint as she requests for backup. Batman then flees as he is fired heavily upon, which results in him getting a gunshot wound in the leg. He runs into an abandoned building, but that sheltered some homeless people. He is surrounded by the Gotham police force, and although Gordon tries to take control of the situation, Commissioner Loeb immediately orders a bomb dropped on him. The bomb is triggered, resulting in a fatal destruction of the building. He also sends in a SWAT team, led by a trigger-happy Commander Brandon, to kill any survivors left in the building and make sure Batman's corpse is brought to him. Selina the prostitute also sees the activities of what's going on in Gotham on the news. Brandon and his team go inside the building and they find a passage underneath where they feel Batman could be hiding. After shooting repeatedly to draw him out, they decide to go inside themselves. Batman launches a sneak attack and then locks them up. He tells the SWAT team that they have taken numerous lives into their own hands and he can't guarantee their safety anymore. The rest of the team goes after Batman after they find out that Brandon is in trouble. Batman uses a signal device to attract a swarm of bats from the Batcave as his only route to escape. After they find Batman, they shoot at him rapidly, but he manages to fight them back. He takes out all the SWAT team one after the other as the swarm of bats also helps him. The whole city rejoices when they find out that Batman is alive, as they have carved him out to be a hero. Just as Batman is fleeing the scene, Commissioner Loeb spots him and orders his men to go after him. They try to take him down again, but the bats come to his aid and they fall off a bridge. After the incident, everyone in the SWAT team and crowd were vaccinated by bat bite, and some of the SWAT team ended up with broken bones, including Brandon. Bruce had fled to Switzerland after the event, and the wound on his legs confirmed Gordon and Essence's suspicion. Meanwhile, after witnessing Batman in action, Selina is inspired to do a costume of her own and change her line of work. She begins a life of crying as Catwoman. During a coffee break, Gordon and Essence started up a romantic relationship and began having an affair together, with months of secretly dating. Gordon is troubled with the fact that he is cheating on Barbara and she needs to know the truth. Essen, trying to get things straight with Gordon, however, chooses to leave Gotham upon learning he is going to be the father of Barbara's unborn child. Gordon is then left alone to investigate Bruce's connection to Batman. During an interrogation regarding Flass's connection with a drug lord, Skeevers refuses to open up to Gordon and is bailed out with the help of a hired lawyer. She offers Skeevers a lot of money and then orders him to keep shut on issues regarding Flass. Just then, he is attacked by Batman, who convinces him to testify against Flass. The news about Flass being involved in drug operations becomes viral. The commissioner requests to speak to Gordon. He confronts Gordon for not telling him about the whole Flass story, and now the press is all over Flass. He tries to suppress Gordon by showing him a picture of his sneaky link with Essen. A terrified Gordon then goes over to see his wife at the hospital. Just as the checkup is over, he receives a call from Bruce Wayne's representative that Wayne is ready for an interview. So he travels to Wayne Manor with Barbara to interrogate Bruce, but Wayne had prepared his decoy. He uses his playboy charms to divert suspicion. This makes Barbara see him as disgusting, instead of the charming personality she knew him to be. While leaving the manor, Gordon pauses for a while and then confesses his affair with Essen to Barbara. Gordon continues his interrogation against Flas as he has nothing to hold him back anymore. They had called to inform Barbara about Gordon's affair, but she knew about it already. Unfortunately, Skeevers is drugged with rat poison in an assassination attempt so that he remains silent about the ties between the police force and the mafia. Although Skeevers is lucky enough to survive after all, Gordon goes to Commissioner Lowe to share the good news about Skeevers' survival to him. This puts him in a rage. Meanwhile, the Catwoman, who hasn't been the spotlight for a very long time, decides to go after Falcone. Rusu would come for information, sneaks into Falcone's manor as Batman and overhears the private conversation between Falcone and his nephew Johnny Vitti. Just then, Catwoman arrives and attacks them, just as she is caught. Batman saves her and thanks her for ruining his plan. She still doesn't get the spotlight and is referred to as Batman's assistant. Falcone and his men decide to target Gordon now that he is a father, so Gordon leaves home on Lode's orders. But then he becomes suspicious and turns back only to discover Vitti and his men already holding his family hostage. Gordon decides to shoot Vitti's men. Vitti flees the scene with Gordon's infant son. Gordon chases after him after knocking out Bruce to use his motorcycle. Bruce, on the other hand, promises Barbara that nothing will happen to her son, so he goes after them. After a flat tire incident, the two men end up fighting on a bridge until Vitti drops the baby, prompting all of them to fall off the bridge. Bruce arrives on time and leaps over the bridge's railing to save the baby and Gordon, while Vitti dies from the fall. Gordon thanks Bruce for saving his infant son's life and lets him go, promising to keep shut about his identity. Practically, he doesn't see well without his glasses, so he doesn't recognize him, but guessed it was Batman. Flas supplies Assistant District Attorney Harvey Dent with the evidence and testimony needed to implicate Lowe, who resigns in disgrace. Gordon is promoted to captain and prepares to meet with Batman to investigate a potential poisoning plot of Gotham Reservoir, orchestrated by a criminal calling himself the Joker. The end. If you like this video, please do well to subscribe for more.